You guys know whenever I bring you in, we're trying to talk about the trending topics around the NBA, the biggest headlines. This week, it was perfect that I had scheduled to have you guys in because one of the trending topics around the association this week was birthed by Fred VanVleet's appearance on the Hello and Welcome podcast and a conversation he had with you guys this week. So here's Fred VanVleet talking about Kawhi Leonard in Toronto circa 2018-19.
He said it from day one. I'm not staying here.
You know what? He never said he was going to stay. So
From day one, I don't know why they traded for me. I don't want to be here. I'm not staying here.
First of all, I don't think any of us that are around the team at the time, even fans, I don't think they're that surprised by the fact that he said that to Fred and his teammates or whoever when he first got there. But I think what the revelation does drive home, and it's something like I've talked about for years since that title was won, is how crazy it was. And I don't just mean, the Toronto Raptors won a championship. How crazy it was that that team at that time won that title. Like, that will go down as a one-of-one title across pro sports, not just basketball, for many reasons. And I think this revelation drives that point home because we're sitting here 6.5 years later, Fred talking about that, and you start to think about it, it's like Kawhi had one foot out the door literally all year, never wanted to be there. He was on a gimpy leg by the time the postseason rolled around. Every excuse in the world to mail it in for a team you don't want to play for and know you're not going to play for the year after anyway. And yet still left it all on the floor for an all-time playoff run. And then from the Raptors' perspective, it's like, they had one chance. One chance to win with a top-tier guy, and they did. So, talking to Fred about it, thinking about it as the years go by, hearing that, has it hit the same way for you to be like, man, that was literally like a one-of-one championship we witnessed?
No, for sure. Are you kidding me? The only reason, but I appreciate it for the one-of-one, but why did it have to be one-of-one?
Could have been 2 of 2.
It should have been 2 of 2. Yeah. It could have been 2 of 3. You know what I mean? I think for Kawhi, it made sense. Like, it was always signaled very strongly that he wanted to go to the Clippers. First person ever to force his way to the Clippers. And by the way, the Clippers aren't even happy with him. Yes. So, didn't really do much for the Clippers. But no, I mean, I think if he were to do it again, maybe more rationally, even just one more year, we have never seen a scenario where a player wins the championship, wins Finals MVP, and then just straight up leaves. That never happens. That has literally never happened. Maybe in all of sports, I know definitely in the NBA. So, yeah, Kawhi's an interesting cat. And by the way, when he goes to the Hall of Fame, I don't know what jersey he's going to be wearing, man, because all three fan bases got real animus towards him.
I'm pretty sure Uncle Dennis is going to sell sponsorship for whatever space.
Uncle Dennis showing up in an Aspire jersey to the Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, fair.
No, but Fred's comments, I think, wasn't a surprise to anyone that Kawhi came in being like, okay, I'm going to spend the 1 year here. But I think still, you think about as the season was going on, as they were making the run through the championship, you would think that Kawhi's mind would be changed. But I guess from day one, he was adamant that this was going to be a 1 year thing. I've always joked that, he kind of accidentally won a championship here because, he came into this team. I don't think the team was championship caliber at the start of the season. They had to make a trade for Marc Gasol. They had to get better. We didn't know what Pascal was going to be coming into the year. Mm-hmm. And then he ended up, obviously, Kawhi and Pascal, I think, are, the top scoring duo in, playoff history or up there. And he just accidentally stumbled onto a team that was ready to win a championship. His knee was good enough, held up, and he was like, damn, all right, I'll win a championship here and I'll leave. Yeah.
But I think
which is still so weird.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's exactly why we and the NBA at large are still talking about that run 6.5 years later when Fred's on your show, not just because it's, that time the team up north won it, but because of the unique circumstances we're talking about. And even, Will, to your point of it should have been 2 of 2 or whatever. He should have stayed even if it was a short-term deal. I think, obviously, they would have been the best team in the... they were on pace for... They won at a 60-win clip in the pandemic-shortened season without him.
Yep.
And arguably, if the bubble hadn't happened, if they had home court in a 7-game series against Boston, they're probably in the finals that year, if all things are equal. But I think, again, that the uniqueness of that 2019 run is bolstered by the fact that he didn't stay. And I think his legend status in Toronto is bolstered, again, even by Fred's comments to you guys, because of the fact that it was wow, you didn't want to be here and you still gave us what you gave us. And then from the Raptors' perspective, obviously it's a testament to the supporting cast that was around him in 2019. It's a testament to Masai Ujiri's brass balls that he went out and made that deal knowing that Kawhi probably wasn't going to be here for more than 1 year. Testament to Alex McKechnie and the training staff, medical staff in Toronto. Nick Nurse's creativity. A lot of those things. But it's also like a reminder of how much has to come together, right? Like to win a title, how much luck you need on your side. And another reason why I always keep harping on this, and that team in particular, not just because we're in Toronto, is because think about the number of years franchises have had top tier caliber, like Hall of Fame, like first ballot superstar guys, and been happy to just get one, if that. Like Cleveland had LeBron James 11 years, one title. Giannis is in year 13 in Milwaukee, one title. Dirk was in Dallas for 21 years, one title. Now, you could say those teams obviously like botched things in certain ways in a lot of years, the way they built around them, but I think it's more a testament to just like, it's insanely hard to get over the hump, to win one. Like Patrick Ewing, 15 years in New York, no titles. This is what I'm saying. Like you go back and think of that Raptors team. The Raptors in their 31 years of existence have had that guy, a guy at that level, one season. And they won a title. Like, that doesn't happen.
This is why Kawhi's the weirdest superstar of all time, man. Who else doesn't value that? No, seriously, you describe all this. Everyone else is, like, internally grateful for that one chance they had, and they will make 100 cracks at it. That's what sports is. There's no guarantees. You have to go and win the game. And then Kawhi had the closest thing to a guarantee. Later in the interview we did with Fred was like, this is a perfect situation, right? We got the regular season handled for you. You know, we could, you might take the whole regular season off, live in San Diego for like 6 months when it's cold in Toronto. We'll probably win 60 games, have a great seed, and then you can come back, join us for the playoffs, and we probably still win the title. All we need you for is the playoffs. No, seriously, and that's not being arrogant as a Raptor fan. And he still walked away from that to go to the Clippers, no less. And for what? I mean, let's put aside all the investigations with the Clippers that surrounded his arrival there, but. Yeah, ultimately, like, what does Kawhi want, man? Like, this guy had the best situation, like, possibly of any superstar. Again, he could take the whole year off, and he still chose to turn it down. It's like, all right, man. Like, it's just a very confusing person. You know?
I will say, too, to Kash's point about this being, like, one of one, too, like, that was such a memorable run, too, right? The moments, right?
Yeah.
The shot coming back from 2-0.
Oh, my God.
You know, even Game 6 in itself against the Bucks when they had to come back. And, of course, the drama of, like, the Warriors going for the three-peat. KD, you know, coming back and getting injured and everything. Like, I don't think there's been a more memorable playoff run since. And if you go back like 10, 15, 20 years, like starting even in the 2000s, like that's one of the most memorable championship runs that you'll see.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, to put a bow on this and I guess bring it a little more modern day, do you think there's any, like, because it can go both ways. On one hand, we can think about what we just discussed and be like, okay, that's, and if anything, an excuse and a reminder that, look, banners hang forever. And even if there's like a huge risk and downside to acquiring that level of superstar, if you have the chance to get that, you just do it. It doesn't matter the risk because banners hang forever. Or do you consider the other half of the conversation when it's like, yeah, but think of all those guys we just talked about where it's like, 13 years, 11 years, like there's no guarantee you get over the hump.
I think greatness in sports shouldn't be so binary as to like who wins the ring or not. You know what I mean? Like, I think like we can appreciate lots of players. Like Damian Lillard's time with Portland should be really celebrated. You know, I mean that alone got him to top 75 in the NBA when they revisited the list, or like Chris Paul's entire career. You know, like you can't just validate everything with the ring. And I think the Kawhi thing is probably like the most classic example of this. Kawhi at his peak. Absolutely, I would even argue with Kawhi at his peak, like what he did in 2019. That's a top 5 small forward of all time. Like he should be in this.
One of the best individual postseason runs ever.
He should be in the discussion with like Larry Bird, Dr. J, LeBron, and like Kevin Durant. Like that's how good he was that season. But like he's also just done the bare minimum, right? So I think the best case scenario is when you have stars like Steph Curry, where it's like they've won multiple titles. And they're also so loyal to the fan base, and they stood on it even during times when the team is terrible. Like right now, since Steph won the title in 2022, he's just dealt with nonstop BS in his own organization, but he's never wanted to leave. He stayed there. That's how you get those eternal stars. And I think Kawhi's sort of one stage less. He's obviously won at a great level, fantastic player at his prime. But again, like when he goes to the Hall of Fame, he's gonna really be like, am I going in as a Raptor, as a Clipper, as a Spur? Like all 3 fan bases are like, yo, what happened here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll always be like a half full thing for me. Like just knowing that there was another championship there for him to get. Like I know it's good to look at it as like a one of one and how special it was, but it's like there was a second championship right there. So for me, that's always going to be a what if. And I don't think I'm ever going to find closure about Kawhi leaving.
You think it should influence at all, though, like the front office, just not even just in Toronto, but in general, of like, banners hang forever. If that guy's available, get it. Or you just think it's too unique of a situation to ever use as precedence because
I think teams should always, you should always go for it. And that's why even like, I'm sure we're going to talk about like, Wemby and the Spurs and stuff. Like any team that's in a position and has that level of player, like you should be going for it all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the time.
I do think the one thing I would push back on is it was such a unique situation in that Kawhi, because of like the mystery around his injury and stuff, whatever the heck was going on in San Antonio, and the fact that the Spurs apparently, reportedly didn't want to send him to his desired destination, is he was available for a price that guys as good, like Kawhi Leonard in the spring of 2019 was the best player on the planet. Full stop.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
the Raptors got him for a price far less than you would usually have to pay for that guy. And
I would say
that's where I think it's different, right? Because like it's easy to say, well, banners hang forever. You just go get that guy, but all due respect to DeMar DeRozan, he was an all-star at the time, but like those guys usually aren't available for DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Perl, and one pick.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't forget we also got Danny Green in that deal too. Which
exactly,
was
right?
a very key part of the whole championship.
We got $5 million for Masai's Giants of Africa.
Which he deserved, absolutely. He should double that actually.
Yeah.
But
no, but you're right. It's like that's also one of one.
Yes.
Like in terms of all those confluences of factors coming together to get Kawhi at that price, to have a team that could move on from DeMar and take this chance to get an upgrade and not feel like you were really giving anything up for the future. Like, you're not going to get that scenario.
Yeah.
Like, you think about other players that have become available, like a Dame or like, Giannis.
Even a Giannis right now.
Giannis might become available. There's no scenarios similar to what the Raptors went through.
No.
Yeah.
Also, Kawhi that season was better than any season of Giannis. I don't care.
No, that's
like 100%.
No,
He was.
I probably agree with that.
Yeah.
It's close, but I agree with that.